The $47 million jackpot wasn't the best part. Her face when she called was. You know that moment when someone looks you dead in the eye and tells you exactly what's wrong with you? That's how my 3-year relationship with Sarah ended. Not with tears, not with screaming, but with her sitting across from me at our kitchen table, calmly explaining why I wasn't enough. I was 32, working as a maintenance supervisor at a local manufacturing plant. Good job, steady income, nothing flashy. Sarah had been my world for 3 years. We shared everything, dreams, plans, even a joint savings account we'd been building toward our future. At least I thought it was our future. The conversation started simple enough. She'd met someone at her marketing firm. His name was Trevor, and apparently Trevor drove a BMW, owned a condo downtown, and took vacations to places I couldn't pronounce. But it wasn't just about Trevor. It was about what I couldn't give her. She laid it out like a business presentation. The restaurants I couldn't afford, the vacations we couldn't take, the engagement ring I'd been saving for that she'd seen in the jewelry store, the one that apparently wasn't big enough for her friends to be impressed by. She'd done the math, and I didn't add up. What hurt most wasn't just that she was leaving. It was how she left. Sarah didn't just pack her things. She took what she considered hers by right. The expensive coffee maker we'd bought together? Hers, because she'd picked it out. The 55-inch TV we'd saved for months to buy? Hers, because she watched it more. Even the set of cookware my mother had given us as a housewarming gift. Gone, because she was the one who actually used it. When I tried to object, she gave me that look. The one that said I was being petty, that someone like me should be grateful she wasn't taking more. After all, she deserved better than what I could provide. Those were her exact words. The worst part was our joint savings account, $4,000 we'd scraped together over 2 years. Money I'd put aside from overtime shifts, from skipping lunches, from every small sacrifice that couples make when they're building something together. She cleaned it out the day she left, leaving me a note that said it was compensation for the emotional labor she'd invested in our relationship. I spent the next month in a haze. Friends told me I was better off without her. But that's easy to say when you're not the one lying awake wondering if maybe she was right. Maybe I wasn't ambitious enough. Maybe I was holding her back. Maybe nice guys really do finish last. Then came October 15th. I'd been buying the same lottery numbers for years. A stupid habit I'd picked up from my dad. $5 a week, every week, using birthdays and anniversaries that meant something once upon a time. Sarah used to tease me about it, calling it a tax on people who can't do math. That week I almost didn't buy a ticket. What was the point? But routine is a powerful thing, and Saturday morning found me at Murphy's Corner Store, handing over my $5 like always. Old Murphy smiled and handed me my ticket, the same way he'd done for 3 years. Wednesday night, I was eating cereal for dinner and watching TV when the numbers started rolling across the screen. I wasn't really paying attention at first. This was just background noise while I scrolled through job listings on my phone, wondering if maybe I should find something that paid better. Then I heard the first number, then the second. By the third, I was sitting up straight. By the fifth, my hands were shaking. By the sixth and final number, I was staring at my ticket like it might disappear if I blinked. $47 million. I must have checked those numbers 50 times that night. Called the lottery office twice to make sure I wasn't losing my mind. Drove to 3 different gas stations to have them scan the ticket and confirm what I couldn't quite believe. I was rich, not just comfortable, not just financially stable. Rich. Set for life, never work again, buy a house with cash, rich. The funny thing about sudden wealth is how it changes your perspective on everything that happened before. All those arguments with Sarah about money, all those times she made me feel like I wasn't providing enough, suddenly they seemed ridiculous. Not because money doesn't matter, but because I realized how much I'd let someone else's definition of success make me feel like a failure. I could have kept it quiet, claimed the prize anonymously, moved somewhere new and started fresh. That would have been the mature thing to do. But maturity had never gotten me anywhere with Sarah, and I was feeling less mature by the hour. Instead, I did something that 17-year-old me would have been proud of. I called the local newspaper and told them I wanted to do an interview. Then I called Channel 7 News. Then I posted on every social media platform I had, with pictures of the check and a caption that read, "Sometimes good things happen to ordinary people." The story went local first, then regional. By the end of the week, I was the feel-good story of the year, the regular guy who stayed humble after hitting it big. They interviewed my coworkers, my neighbors, even old Murphy from the corner store. Everyone had something nice to say about Marcus Thompson, the maintenance supervisor who planned to keep working until they figured out what to do with all that money. That's when Sarah called. I was in my lawyer's office setting up trusts and investment accounts when my phone rang. Her name on the screen sent a jolt through me that was part panic, part curiosity, and part something I didn't want to examine too closely. Her voice was different, softer, almost hesitant. She'd seen the news, she said. She was happy for me, she said. She'd been thinking about us a lot lately, she said. Maybe we'd both grown since the breakup. Maybe we'd made mistakes. Maybe we should talk. The conversation lasted 20 minutes, and I let her talk. She told me about Trevor, how things weren't working out the way she'd hoped, how she'd realized that money wasn't everything, how she missed what we had together, the real connection, the way we understood each other. She asked if I wanted to meet for coffee. Just to catch up, she said. Just to see how I was doing. I listened to all of it, and when she finished, I told her I'd think about it. Then I hung up and did something that felt better than winning the lottery. I called my lawyer and told him I wanted to establish a charitable foundation. Nothing huge, nothing flashy, just something that would help people in situations like the one I'd been in. People who were working hard but struggling to get ahead. People who needed a break but didn't know where to find one. I named it the Sarah Mitchell Foundation for Second Chances. The press release went out the next week, right around the time Sarah called again. This time, her voice was sharper. She'd seen the foundation announcement. She wanted to know why I'd used her name without asking. She wanted to know what I was trying to prove. I told her the truth, that she'd taught me something valuable about knowing what you're worth. The foundation would make sure other people learned that lesson without having to lose someone they loved in the process. She hung up on me. 3 months later, she called one more time. Trevor was completely out of the picture now, she said. She'd been doing a lot of thinking, a lot of growing. She missed me, missed us. She knew she'd made a mistake, and she wanted to make it right. She asked again if I wanted to meet for coffee. This time I didn't tell her I'd think about it. I told her no, not because I was angry. Anger had faded somewhere between the second and third newspaper interview. Not because I wanted to punish her. Punishment implies that someone still matters enough to hurt. I told her no, because I'd learned something in those months after winning the lottery. Money can't buy happiness, but it buys the freedom to choose who shares it. And Sarah had already shown me exactly who she was when she thought I had nothing to offer. The foundation is doing well. We've helped 43 families so far, people who needed car repairs to get to work, parents who couldn't afford school supplies, kids who wanted to go to college but couldn't see how to pay for it. Small stuff, mostly, but the kind of small stuff that makes a big difference when you're the one who needs it. I still work at the plant, though I bought the company last year. The guys think it's hilarious that their old supervisor is now their boss, but the paychecks got bigger and the health benefits got better, so nobody's complaining. And Sarah? I hear she's engaged now to a guy who owns 3 car dealerships. I hope they're happy together. I really do. Because money can't buy happiness, but it buys the freedom to choose who shares it. And sometimes, the best revenge is just living well enough that revenge doesn't matter anymore. Though I'll admit her face when she called that first time was pretty priceless.